PM.
Thank you.
Second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Roll call.
Aye.
John's there now.
And I, Steve.
Hey,
Gerard.
everyone, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can hear you.
I'm
Okay, we
having
just opened the
trouble
meeting, John.
with my computer. Steve, do you want to start the meeting?
You just did.
Yep, I opened it up.
Just say aye.
Yeah, John, just say aye.
Okay, I'm back. I can hear you guys now.
All right,
Sorry,
John,
I had
you just
computer
hear-
trouble.
That's all right. John, I opened the meeting. Lee voted aye. I voted aye. Just, you get a vote up if you like.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that, Steve.
I think he did. He raised his hand and said aye.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Meeting's
good.
open.
So
The
thanks for
meeting's already
starting. I
open.
apologize. I had trouble joining. And I just got back right about a little before 3:15 because I picked the kids up at school. And took me a little while to get home, but I'm here. Thanks for waiting and your patience. So let's start the meeting. It's been opened. And I believe the first item is financials for Don to discuss the financials.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone had a nice summer. It's already fall. I sent you guys reports through August 31st. Just 2 months in, so not going to be a ton to really discuss at this point, but commitment one is up from last year about 10%. We won't really know what our new rates and the effect on those will be until probably the next quarter, I believe, as the timing of when bills are actually read or what quarter they relate to. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but I think that's the case. The only really thing on the revenue side to even note is looks like we got our one big system development fee from 390 CJC. So we're at 312% of our revenue collected for system development charges. Otherwise, though, year over year collections through the first 2 months, user charge and capital recovery fee are 13.8 and 11.1% respectively. So 10% bumps in revenue collected, which would be in line with some of our increases in our rates. So for the first 2 months in, we're looking okay. Nothing really of significance to report. On the expenditure side, you'll notice I have not done the indirect transfer. And that was something that was brought to my attention that you guys wanted to maybe vote that, even though it was approved during the budget process, went to town meeting as part of the budget package. I believe you folks wanted to vote that transfer before I made it. So I held off. I don't
Yes,
know.
well,
if that's okay.
basically what we said was, we were wondering why it was done in July when historically it had been done in January.
Yeah, and the way I explained it is this is a budgetary transfer. It can be posted July 1st. It could be posted July 30th, June 30th. I mean, it's better to post it early. It just depends on the timing. One person in my specific office that handles all of this. So I did not post that until September 1 year and then July 1st last year. You voted it. That number is going to be transferred at one point or another. I don't really have anything further to say on that. It's a budgeted transfer. That amount should be transferred. It technically doesn't need your approval, but I'm just giving you guys the benefit of the doubt or the courtesy as you requested to actually vote to allow me to make that transfer. Again, part of it was, I think the concern maybe was that you guys sign off on all invoices that are expenses and you wanted to sign off on this, if my memory serves me right. So I have not posted it. You guys want to take a vote? That'd be great. If not,
John, I have a quick question.
Tell me specifically, Don, what the vote would be to make the transfer at a certain time. These are the capital, I mean, these are the indirect costs.
Yeah, these are the indirect costs. I'm gonna
Yeah, these
post
are the
it,
fee for service that we're paying in advance.
paying in advance.
Mhm.
So John.
I'm
this
not gonna
comes
break
out
it down monthly if that's what you're looking for.
No,
John, this comes out of this comes out of our enterprise fund and goes to the town's general fund, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that has to be, I would look into that. I think that has to be, whoever's in charge of our enterprise fund, which I'm assuming, I'm just guesstimating that it's the water commission's in charge of the enterprise fund. Am I get that wrong, Don?
Well, you guys oversee it. I'm the
Correct.
one who approves any payments, essentially. If, I guess, what's your question, Steve?
Yeah, no, it should be
Yeah,
honestly.
let me tell you, you don't need to vote this, but I'm giving you the courtesy because that's what you asked for. You don't need to vote it. It's been approved by town meeting. It's just a budgetary transfer.
So the only issue is timing, Don, I guess, and I don't know why time makes a difference.
It really doesn't. It depends on how busy I get, and I haven't posted all of the July 1 transfers as of town meeting. All the budgets have been posted. We're operating as normal. It's essentially a housekeeping item.
Right, and I mean, Don, my understanding, Don is the finance lead for the enterprise fund. I mean, that's part of our indirect cost, is paying Don and his time to oversee all our finances and our budget, and so he's doing the job. He's taking that role on behalf of the enterprise fund, as we retained him through indirect costs. Does anyone have any concern with the July 1 timing?
No.
well, I stated my concern already a few times.
Okay, I make a motion, although we don't need to, that we approve the July 1 transfer so that it can be done when the other transfers are done and made easier for the finance department.
See, but I have another question. What if something happens and we find that the money that we have paid for services, the services weren't completed?
Where would that even occur?
Well, I don't know. You take a look at all the services that are listed there.
I'm not-
You know how many hours we're
You need a more
supposedly
detailed
paying
question.
for certain employees per month?
It's all, these are all based on estimates, historical estimates,
Mhm.
and pre-approved. I mean, take your vote if
I
you
don't
could.
know. Being a
We
business
beat
person,
this
it
thing to
bothers
death
me to
every
pay
single
so
year.
far in
It's
advance
crazy.
for a service.
I
So
missed
I
it.
think we take a vote, as Don suggests, and I'm in favor of the July 1 as it is the way that it's done in the finance department, who we are paying to oversee our finances. And if Steve and Lee disagree, that's okay. I'm fine with that, but I think we need a motion, so I'm going to make the motion. Anyone second?
So if I heard you, John, I apologize. So this is a one and done vote.
One and done vote, either, so if there's no second, then my motion would just fail, and then someone else can make a motion for a different date.
Can I just make one suggestion, then we'll just move on? We can want to vote.
Sure.
Can we just vote on this every year? Just, it'd be a common courtesy when the town re-ups their indirect costs with the water department. I think it's just good. It should be a good, healthy practice, so we know.
Steve, can I just,
Even though we won't have really control of that portion, it's just a common courtesy knowing it's going from enterprise fund to town, general funds. It's just, I think it's just a smart move.
so the re-up, I just want to be clear. So these are indirect costs that we've gone through a process. We've gone back and forth multiple times, probably last December, January for this coming fiscal year. We've gone through it. I've answered question after question, concern after concern. And so this is just the timing of when the next budget cycle starts. So it's not like I'm updating and changing anything on you. You guys have already voted this months ago. Town meeting has voted. as part of the budget package. I just want to make that clear that nothing is changing. These are all assumptions and estimates that were agreed upon at a certain point in time to fund the
Yeah.
budget on both sides.
No, Don, I wasn't arguing. Trust me, I got the education on the indirect costs and who, what, when, and where's. I was not arguing the cost. That's all. We went down that road already.
Perfect. All right.
I was just asking if we could just do a courtesy vote every year before you transfer over. That's all I was asking.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that.
John, can we do an emotion that we can, just throw a day out, like our June meeting, we can vote to transfer X dollars into the general fund from the enterprise fund to the town fund.
All right, why don't I withdraw my motion and maybe Steve, you can make the motion if you want.
Yeah,
Steve, why don't you just
Trying
make
to
the
think of
motion
what
for
guy-
this year only? Just say this is for FY22 transfer. And it's just a one-time
Okay.
vote, and then it has to be done next year.
all right, so I'll make a motion to transfer the indirect cost funds from the enterprise fund to the town's general fund for our fiscal year 21-22. Could I get a second? Did I do that right
Second.
one? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's 3.
Unanimous. I like it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's all I
John.
was looking for. John, that's all I was looking for. At least we just have a common crazy heads up. That's all.
Yeah, and then going forward, I suggest we chat first thing in July of each new fiscal year. Because really, you couldn't really vote in June for business in July when you're starting the new fiscal. So maybe every year in July, we can have this discussion, call a vote and call it a day on indirects.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question about financials. Is there any possibility of getting an estimate of retained earnings?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you an estimate right now.
Sure.
So we're essentially closing out the retained earnings that was certified last year was about $1.3 million. We repurposed and used $450 for the Elm Street water main replacement at this town meeting. So we're pretty much closing this year at about $850,000, which again, it rolls into the overall calculation. But so with an FY21 surplus of close to 600, I'd say we're in the ballpark of probably 1.314 again for retained earnings.
Okay. And then I noticed that Linden Ponds, their billed amount is about $8,000 less than it was the previous month.
There was an error on, oh, wait a minute. No, you didn't see that one. Linden Ponds did come in lower for the
Mhm.
month, the last month or the month before, Lee, whichever one you're looking at. The towers for the air conditionings.
Yeah.
Nobody was using air conditioning.
That's
not
amazing
as
because it was so
often.
hot.
Well, not as often, I don't think. For the
Okay.
month of, I think you're looking at the month of,
I'm looking at the July amount. It came in at like 35 and then the next one came in at 62 for the August amount.
hold on.
Sale of water.
Yeah.
Based on the receipts, we got about 36,000 in July and then 26,000 in August.
Mhm.
Total year to date, we have 62,000.
Right,
yeah.
that's what I'm looking at.
And so that's out of that would, like Brenda said, whatever,
Yeah,
Her reasoning is
the
probably-
usage is lower. I will tell you that the usage is lower. We are tracking that. The meters have been calibrated, so they are working properly.
Mhm.
So I think all we've received so far for payments for this fiscal year.
Was
Oh,
it
no.
62?
Yeah, we got 35.
Brenda, do they use any water for irrigation or any kind of watering?
They
Isn't
have
that wells,
wells
I
for their
think?
irrigation.
Hmm.
So we had one for 35,919 go out and one for 26,172.
Right. Okay, I was just
So, yeah.
wondering.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking it. I'm definitely tracking it, Lee.
Mhm. And then I have one question for Jason. T-Mobile, are they coming online soon?
T-Mobile just got an email today. I'll tell you what they said. Give you an update. We anticipate receiving their internal legal final review of the lease back this week. We should be getting signatures and we should be getting them next week, the contracts for us to sign.
Okay, so then we can probably in the next 2 months see a jump in that line item for revenue.
Great.
That would help us.
What is the amount of that lease, Jason? Do you know the monthly, the new revenue that we'll be getting?
It's 35 grand a year.
Okay,
And there's a $5,000 kicker on contract sign. And then I have to look back and see if they start payment as soon as the lease is signed, or do they start payment once they're on the tower? I can't remember how that is. Or once they start construction, I will look at that. That $5,000 kicker is basically to pay for attorney fees for us in our internal process.
great. I had a question on some of our capital items. We have the money still left from some town meetings ago. Aaron River Reservoir Dam. What's the status of that project?
We have the screen is in place. It has not been fully mounted due to it's too high water level for the screen to be mounted at the fish ladder. That project is ongoing. We are doing some additional tree removal out there with that money in the dam maintenance portion.
Okay, so I see a PO out there for 4,400. I don't know if that's a screen, which leaves us 141.
I got a quote.
I guess
for-
I'm just trying to figure out when are we gonna be done? Because this has been out there since December of 2018.
Yep.
And I don't think the intent of this article was to just keep it open for forever ongoing dam maintenance, if I'm correct.
There's some portions of the dam maintenance that we haven't gotten to yet, John. The issue is finding contractors that are willing to do the work.
Okay,
So we have like the remote spillway. It's fairly hard to get to. And we haven't had a lot of luck finding contractors willing to go out and do it. So we are still in the process of trying to get that work done.
okay. And then just the other two that have been out there a little bit, the plant upper roof, there's like $3,400 left on that.
No, you
That's
can get
done.
rid of that.
That one can be closed.
Yep.
Okay, and then the water filter media replacement.
That's
13
done.
grand out there, is that done?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and then some of these other ones were just approved in June, so I'm not even gonna talk about those yet. I just want to take a look at some of these older guys. Thank you.
Any other questions for Don?
No
Okay,
other
Don,
questions.
thank you, Don, very much.
All right, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Don.
Okay,
Thanks, Don.
next item is special town meeting warrant articles and whether we need to do any, and there's a deadline on that, which is the reason we're having the meeting today as opposed to later in the month. Jason or anyone have any thoughts on that? If there's anything for special town meeting as opposed to the meeting in May?
So the big one would be Elm Street water main. Originally, I was under the impression that the cast iron main ended at the intersection of Elm and by the Cohasset Arbor Inn, and that's where the paving project was ending. But the paving project is actually going to continue around and down to Atlantic Ave and a portion of Atlantic Ave. So we want to extend the replacement project down to Stockbridge Street and replace the water main in that stretch as well. We're estimating based on the bid It probably around 100,000 would cover all the costs associated with that additional work. So we would like to put in for that at the winter town meeting.
Do we need capital budget approval for that?
Yeah, I'll fill out all the forms and all that stuff and put forward it.
Now, can we
Oh.
take that out of retained earnings
Yeah.
rather than borrowing?
It would definitely be out of retained earnings.
Okay, now how much further is it in feet compared to what we're doing?
Hold on one second. Have any other questions while I'm looking that up? It's gonna take. me a second.
I have one question. Why do you have to go to town meeting for it if it just comes out of our?
Because you have to reappropriate retained earnings. You can't just spend retained earnings.
Because it's not coming out of our budget.
Yeah, we could, if we wanted
Oh.
to do it out of extraordinary system maintenance, we could, but we don't want to spend all of our extraordinary system maintenance on this project.
Oh, just learned something new.
So you're looking at, that's about 450 feet. And the entire project was 1,600 feet. And
The
hundreds high. but we
1,600,
don't-
does the 1,600 include the 450 or is it 16 plus 4?
16 plus 450. So it's more than we need, but we don't want to go in with the number. Like the number is about 85-ish, but we want to go in with some extra money just in case. And it's better.
How does that affect the bid?
It doesn't. We just give them a change order for the additional work based on his bid price. They bid on items in the bid. So for instance, his price for the 8-inch pipe is $70 a foot. So it's $70 times the additional length of pipe. Then we have to purchase the pipe. We purchased the pipe as part of the bid. So that's not in there. So we'll purchase the pipe. And then there's gate valves and service lines and all that's included there too. So we use his quantity, we use his bid item prices to, we'd add another like 2-inch service connection. So this 2-inch service connection is $2,500 per connection. So there'd be an additional $2,500 for a 2-inch service connection.
Now, is sewer also going to be extending?
Sewer, the only thing on the docket for sewer is one minor sewer repair at Elm Court. There's no other sewer repairs on this project.
Oh, because I thought we were doing the project in conjunction with sewer doing repairs.
Yeah, they only had one repair that they found in that area.
Oh, okay. So it's still, the town is going to be doing the paving after we're finished.
Yep.
And we're still looking at possibly October 1st to begin?
Yep.
And you think it'll get done in time?
He says he'll be in and out in a month, which is gonna beg the problem of, we have to discuss how we're paying for the extra piece. It may be that gets done in the spring after the town meetings vote. I gotta deal with Dawn on that question as to if we haven't voted at town meeting to the extra $100,000, what do we do as far as that expenditure is concerned?
But if we're voting it now out of retained earnings, why would it have to go to town meeting?
Because you can't just vote to spend retained earnings, I don't think. Town
That's what
meeting
we
has to
typically
vote.
did at the fall town meetings.
Yeah, that's my point is fall town meetings in December, after the construction season's over. So,
The bills will have already come in, Lee.
All right, I
So
see
we're
what you're
gonna have
saying.
and
pay
if we
for it.
don't,
If we don't, yeah,
if I don't have approval, I can't really sign a change order. I'd have to sign the change order based on we can do this, and we're having discussions internally. I don't want to belabor this. We just need $100,000.
but wait a second. How about if we take it out of extraordinary maintenance and then have a warrant article?
That's
the fall
one
town
of the
meeting.
options. That's one of the, to refund extraordinary system maintenance. maintenance.
Yeah, to put
So-
$100,000 in extraordinary maintenance.
I agree,
then we'll
but
have
the
the money
problem
in
is if
hand.
it doesn't get voted, we are short $100,000. So we're in the process of determining the best option for this. When we determine it, we'll bring it forward to you guys. We didn't realize we were gonna have a bite at this apple. So we're kind of in planning mode at this point. We'll have a game plan by the time we get to the next meeting.
All right, but we need to know whether we're gonna submit the special town meeting article.
Yes, if you guys want to do the $100,000 of work, that's the first question. When it happens is the second question.
Okay, well, I think we need to do the work as part of the project.
Yeah.
And does anyone, Steve or Lee, do you disagree, or?
No, I fully agree
agree.
with you, but I'm just looking at the timeline because I thought, how much time do we have after September 24th to finagle our warrant article?
Liam, I can vote. The point is this, the street is not gonna get paved in the spring. They have to do the whole Elm Street corridor project. So if I do the water main in the spring, as soon as the road opens back up, we can do it there then as well, before the Elm Street paving happens. They're not gonna pave until next fall. So it's not going to, I can do it, if I have to wait till after town meeting and do it in the spring, we can do that. I don't want to get bogged down into the semantics of how we're doing this. It just, I mean, if you want to, then you can get involved. But I think the point of this is you guys who approved the $100,000, and Dawn and I and Brenda will figure out when it happens and how it gets paid.
Okay, well, no, I'm confused now. Are we still talking about the original 1,600 feet being done in October or putting it
Yes.
off again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now-
100%.
If the 450 feet get put off till next spring or whenever, maybe next fall,
Not next
wouldn't
fall.
that affect the contractor?
We'll talk to the contractor about it. I want to get a vote on this first, then I can start the process. There's no point in getting involved in asking a lot of questions about how we want to proceed until I was sure you guys wanted to proceed with this project. I don't want to waste people's time and effort investigating something if I don't have a project.
All right,
Okay,
but we're talking about only this portion of Elm Street being paved, the 450 feet being paved later? Are they going to be paving the 1,600 feet this year?
No,
or
Lee,
they
they're
waiting?
gonna pave everything next fall.
Next fall.
Next fall again. This has been put off, what, for 3 years now?
Lee, we don't have an Elm Street corridor project approved yet. So part of this is the Elm Street corridor, what they're doing with the parking and the crosswalks and the bike paths and all that has to be decided before they pave Elm Street. So we don't think we're gonna have a consensus on that by the springtime. So therefore, the assumption is we're paving in the summer or fall of next year. Carl Cicito tends to like to pave in the fall, not in the spring or summer. As you see, paving is starting this month in Cohasset.
Okay, my
All
other
right.
question though too is, if we have the street open now under our dime for the first portion of this project, are we liable for any type of road covering that we did not anticipate in this project since they're not paving?
The contractor is responsible for his trench.
for patching it, right?
Yes,
Was that included in the bid?
yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve $100,000 to go to the additional 450 feet of pipe that needs to be replaced. Be transferred out of retained earnings or requested at least as a special town meeting warrant article.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
I would also like to make another motion that in the event that there is a problem with doing it this way, that we leave ourselves an avenue open to possibly use the extraordinary maintenance money now so we can get it done and then have it paid back through the warrant article. as a
Second.
transfer.
Second Lee's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Jason. Jason, so you will deal with capital budget and also draft, the initial draft, the warrant article?
Yep. It'll
Thank
just go
you.
in the capital. It'll just get stuck in the capital like usual, I would assume, but I'll deal with Don and Chris on that.
Thank you.
Okay,
then-
I have another question though, about a warrant article. Now, we know that the town is only paying rate 1. And there was an alternative energy committee meeting where they made the announcement that the town has saved hundreds of thousands of dollars through the alternative energy committee with the solar array. And we know most of that money has gone to the school. We have not received any of it. And I was wondering whether or not we should start pursuing, since the numbers that we were given in the spring about how much it would cost the school were greatly inflated, that maybe we should look into possibly charging the town rate 2, because we may not be getting what we needed through rate 3. Any thoughts?
I think we've got resistance on that already from advisory and the select board. I don't think they're gonna change now.
Yeah, but they
I
were
was at
given
the
incorrect
meetings.
numbers.
Well, Stephen Lee, you're at the meeting. I unfortunately was not at that meeting, but I think we'll face the same hurdle on that if we try to do it again, at least now. When we just had the rate study approved, several months ago.
No, but
So
I mean, I'm
there-
just looking down the road at something to possibly increase revenue someplace without putting the burden on just our ratepayers, considering everyone is using town buildings. But that's just something to
If you were
think
gonna
about.
do it, if you're gonna do it, I would also recommend that you make it for the next budget cycle, so it would be effective July 1st.
Yes, I would say
Um,
that.
So that would be my only comment. It's up to you guys what you want to do, but I would say make it effective July 1st if you do it.
Yeah, that gentleman from the advisory, the chair of the advisory committee had mentioned if you want to look at, basically, nutshell, look at it, you want to look at it before their budget season begins. If you want to take a look
Yeah.
at that tier rate for the schools,
Yeah, because they wanted to know early.
All right. So I
whether
think
it flies, whether it flies or dies, at least you started it early.
Yeah, and I would think what we need to do is ask Don to do the numbers so that if we do it, we're voting on a known impact on the schools, and we're bringing that to advisory and the select board.
I can work with Don on that and bring it to you.
Okay, well, he did do it, but remember at the meeting, he gave a number that was quadruple what it was, and then afterward gave us the correct number.
Yeah.
So I do have that number in my notes.
Do you remember what it was, Lee, by any chance?
It was something like $22,000.
It was a $40,000-$50,000 spread difference, I remember.
Yeah. So
And
it's
does that
not like,
include, that includes town hall, that includes,
I
no,
believe
that was
so,
just the
John.
school.
I can't, you might be. I mean, it might not, the change might have been pretty close to accurate on the, I want to say, gut remembering, the original estimate was 60 and it ended up being like 30.
No, it was more like 22.
Okay. So,
all right, well, at least the first step is we can find out what the actual numbers are and then discuss it at a future meeting, if that's okay.
yeah,
I mean,
can-
we
'cause
don't have to
that-
do it for this town meeting, but this is just something that if we want to do it, we have to start talking about it so that we don't catch anybody by surprise.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I can even have him put a placeholder if you want, and then we can pull it after the next meeting if you can decide not to.
I don't know that we need it. It's up to you, but I would think that if we do it, we do it in the spring,
Okay,
opposed to now.
You know, just as long as they know it's coming. And that it won't be a surprise while they're doing their budget work. So it doesn't make a difference if we do it now or at the regular town meeting. But it's just something I want to throw out there so that as we're looking at revenue coming in to see, since we have all of these large items coming up.
The other piece that we really don't have a number on yet, and it's been out there, we've been trying to get numbers together, but we don't, is sludge. We're trying to weigh the option of mechanically dewatering the sludge versus using lagoons. I'm not sure we're there yet or not. That's why there's question marks in there as to whether we do it at winter or spring. It's just we're kind of up against it again with the lagoons out back, and so that's the other one item that if we were going to put something up at the winter, that would be it.
Fred, I have a question. When you guys first came on board, you took over sludge processing and we built that building. Is there anything new that your company has developed that might be helping this process?
Actually, good question. I was working with Jason on this. We do have a technical expert that deals with many different vendors. He vets a lot of new technologies and so forth. So Jason and I, I'm setting up a meeting for Jason and I to discuss various vendors who do dewatering, like he's mentioned, the mechanical dewatering. So we're looking at it, but there's no other technology out there other than building more lagoons or some sort of mechanical process.
Because I know that when you came in and started processing the sludge, we were, doing well for like a year and a half before we were having to cart it away.
You mean Woodard and Curran?
Right.
Yeah, I
When you
can't
started
speak-
the in-house.
Right, yeah, obviously, we just don't have enough room. It's just not working. So the bags were kind of a Band-Aid. They worked for a while, but we're just running out of space, and as starts from the drop of water right through, the water quality is a challenge. You're generating more sludge, you're backwashing more. It's just a rippling effect.
How much more sludge did we generate this summer compared to last? Do we have any numbers on that?
Jonathan, you have any numbers on that or something? If you can't turn it around this moment, Jonathan, we can also.
No, I can take a note on that question to get that number, but the explanation or the narrative I've heard over my time here is that over the last few years, water demand has increased and therefore sludge production has also increased. Again, it's speaking loosely just off of what I feel like I've heard. I don't have any numbers in front of me at the moment.
Yeah,
this
well,
was
in
a
the
bad
last
year
6 years,
for
though, we had the
organics.
water from the well field that we hadn't had year round. So
That
we
is
were
also
hoping
true.
that had some impact on lessening the amount of sludge.
Yes.
And I know this year has been trying because we have not had that well field at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
The other note too, by the way, on the capital spreadsheet, or is that coming up next? That's up next, I think. Yeah, well, just a quick update on the capital projects. I pushed the 3A project out another year because the state has pushed the 3A project out another year. So that is no longer on the slate for next year. I filled in the replaced chain and flight system at the plant. We're going to look at that this fall to determine if that really is a project or not. But that chain and flight replacement may end up getting swapped out with a sludge handling system project.
Okay, well, we're talking about 3A. I know initially when Stasco was looking for government financing, we were going to be doing the water main on 3A from Pond Street. Apparently, he's doing the whole excavation on 3A himself.
Yep.
Are we going to be involved at all in replacing anything?
No, unless he hits it.
Okay. Because
The
I
only
wasn't
reason,
sure.
the reason to replace it at the time was, if he was gonna be in there and we were gonna get state money to get as much bang for your buck from the state as we could and not have it just be, the developer reaping the benefit of the grant. So we had proposed replacing the water main there.
Mhm.
It's a 1960s vintage AC pipe. Is it in a wet area? Yes, somewhat. It's not the most high priority pipe in the system though, as far as cost of replacement. I mean, as you know, we have Elm Streets from 1910,
Mhm.
Summer Street, 1910. We're trying to get the oldest stuff first. So,
Yeah. No, well, I just wasn't sure because I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to get 3A opened.
but it's not gonna be, he's digging off the street too, by the way.
He's what?
He's not digging in the street.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
That portion of 3A might be a good candidate for a lining project too, where it has a lot less service connections than the other part of 3A.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So the next on the list is the updated list of capital projects that Jason prepared, and then the meeting with advisory, select board, and capital to discuss that. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the revised list of capital projects Jason prepared?
I would say that's the big note though, that I took out of a 23, I took the $1 million in 3A and pushed it out a year and put the 825 for the chain and flight system. But as you see, there's a question mark in there for the residuals. If that 825 ends up not being a real project, that is probably more likely than not going to end up being a sludge thickening project out back.
Okay, and then Jason, would you be able to work to schedule meetings with select board advisory, hopefully a joint meeting if we can do it, if not separate, and then capital budget?
Well, what I was thinking, John, is given this town meeting thing, we're probably going to be meeting with all of them as part of the process. So we could probably just knock them off as part of that process, have the CIP presentation and that all looped together in one. But yeah, I'm going to talk to Chris and Dawn about it and see how they best think to get that plan out there.
Okay, thank you. And then the Elms Meadow update.
So we, as far as the design is concerned, they finally got the one last number they were waiting for. We're expecting to get the report by the end of the week, in the final design by the end of the week, which will then end that grant project. We are continuing to sample out there on a monthly basis. Jonathan, we did reach out to the lab. They can't do filtered sample unless we filter it. Is that correct? So I'm going to reach out to Eurofins, who did the sampling for Tetra Tech, to see if they can do it that way. The reason being is, as we discussed the last time where we were seeing that removal by filtration, we want to see if that's a real thing or if it's just a one-time thing that was happening.
Well,
Jason,
what have our numbers have been?
I did send out 2 sets of samples to Alpha. One was filtered and one was not.
Oh, so you filtered it in-house?
I did.
Okay.
So how are the numbers running?
I don't think we've got any results since the last meeting. They take
So
a
the last meeting was
long
like a
time.
1784.
Yeah, it's a super long turnaround time on those numbers.
Now, if we do by chance get to open up the Meadow well field there, what do we do with the Meadow?
I mean, if we don't or we do?
If we do, yeah, say, okay, bang, here we go. It's not going to cost us gazillion dollars to do it, and we could be using it. So what do we do now? Because we still have that issue where no one is interested in stopping anyone from.
Oh, you mean, when you say the Meadow, I thought you meant the skating pond. You're talking about the entirety of the property.
Yeah, we're talking about where they're dumping, where they're polluting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can put a fence up at that point if the idea was to include the fence as part of the final design, but we can discuss putting a fence up if we go back online as is.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
looking at
did you see the
Cohasset
new
history
signs?
books.
Do you see the new signs?
Yep. No, but I've been looking at Cohasset history books here. And apparently over 100 years ago, that was a pasture. Ned Elms was a horse trader who lived at 31 South Main Street. And he had his horses grazing there. So I was wondering, can we go to CPC and get historic preservation to put up a fence? Turn it into pasture again.
Yeah, they'll have horses shitting in the water supply. That's a good idea.
Right.
Well, no, just having to, say it has a pasture. We don't have any horses now.
We haven't had much luck with CPC.
I can
know,
have,
it's so
I'm gonna say that
frustrating.
Fred can wear a horse costume whenever he's in town and walk around out in Meadow to make it more historically accurate.
Yeah. All right. That was good. So Lily Pond, Milfoil, and Algae.
So we sent out that report, and it's kind of depressing to hear just the extent of the fan wart out there. So you're looking at like 80 to 90% coverage in fan wart out in the pond. So we're looking into what the best option is for that removal. If you read the report I sent, to the extent we have, you're looking at chemical treatment. That's really not an option given a water supply. So we're going to look at the vacuum extraction and maybe even partnering that with a benthic barrier application after extraction. If you read the that guide, that's what it talks about, is using them in conjunction with each other. So you vacuum extract first and then put the benthic barrier down to try to hinder the regrowth. The one benefit of fan root wart, or whatever it is, fan wart root, is it can be harvested anytime. You don't have to wait till it's growing, because you're gonna get the roots out. So it makes it so we can do it at any time of year. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the summer. So it opens up the options. We have 2 contractors currently looking at the vacuum extraction, and we'll hopefully having a game plan in the near future as to what we're going to be doing. So basically, I reached out to 2 contractors and said, of our $50,000 to start, we're looking at spending $30,000 a year, and then we'd have money left over to deal with the residuals. And what would their recommendations be, and how much can they get done in the given $30,000? Like what type of coverage could they get done? So our goal is to come back to you guys with some kind of a game plan in the near future.
I have a question. Remember when we did the removal 2 summers ago? The
Yep.
summer before last. How much has it proliferated since then?
I don't know.
Because I don't know if it's been growing a great deal. And then I hate to tell these guys, looking at that map, gee, you never guess what I do up in Maine with my lake rake. It is easy to take out. I am removing a lot of fan wart. It is in with the other grasses.
So do it here instead of in Maine.
Yeah, well, it's my lake is shallow where I'm doing it. I can
lake
bring
here is
back one of my
shallow.
lake rakes.
So yeah, we're going to, I mean, that's one of the things that some of the things it said is to get volunteer groups to go out there and do the harvesting by hand. I don't see that happening, but that is an option.
Hey, maybe that's a Boy Scout project.
Yeah, I want to see Boy Scouts that I'm not going to be involved in that one.
That could
I was
be
gonna
an
say-
Eagle Scout project.
That's a great,
Yeah.
huge liability. So yeah, so we'll hopefully have some kind of a game plan in the near future as to what our long-term. So basically, I want to get into a process where we have somebody, they're scheduled to come in every single year at a specific time, do the work and leave, and try and get the whole pond done at some point. Like just basically work like a clock around the pond and do quadrants at a time and get as much done as we can every year and just have a process, get it in place and just do it every year and not talk about it anymore.
Well, the other thing that I noticed in that report was they were discussing about eliminating activity on the water. Because we don't know how much is coming in from everybody else with their fishing, their windsurfing and whatever else they're doing there. And no one is, controlling anything that is moving around, and they could be moving a lot of it on their boats, even though they may not be motorized, because that stuff is just like unbelievable. It comes up so easy.
Mhm.
So that might be something to think about, that we may have to say, hey, we're doing this. We want to have restrictions so that we're not spreading it.
I think if we can show that we're doing a good effort, it would be something I think we should look at. If we can accomplish something out there, then yes, there should definitely be. If you read it, a lot of it's about, because part of it is I don't want to promote people getting out there, but they say anywhere somebody is launching a boat, there should be a thing about washing down your boat and not bringing invasive species in. But by doing that, you're promoting people going in the pond. I don't want people in the pond.
Yeah, well, no, but we don't have any place to wash the boat.
I know, but that's
Yeah,
the point. Like, you're
I know.
supposed to not come on a boat. You're supposed to wash your boat at your house and bring it before washed.
Then
Sure.
they use that dreadful D word, dredge, to get rid of it.
Well, I'm not gonna say that, but that's what vacuum extraction is.
Well, yeah.
Can you restrict people from just using the pond with just boats in general, just allow fishing on the side?
If you want to. You can do whatever you want. You're the water commissioner. It's your property.
Yeah, but you gotta be able to patrol that as well.
Yeah.
They can get in anywhere along the pond. It
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
Here.
That's something we should look at, because you got the Iron River, right? They can go on.
They can
But
get
that's-
on right here on King Street.
But I mean, that leads to the other problem, Steve, is if you get the invasives in the Iron River, they'll eventually make the Lily Pond. But I don't want to get bogged down in that. We'll come up with a game plan for Lily Pond and then we can move forward after that.
Right now,
Um,
have we done any testing with the water quality between the reservoir and here to see, like with the manganese?
Yeah,
Magnesium contact, yeah.
we have, the intern was taking those regularly when he was here on Tuesdays. Along
Almost
the-
all of it is better.
What is?
Almost all of it is better.
Where? Almost everything but the pond? No.
Well, yeah, right? Isn't that
I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know.
Right.
At
generally?
times, some of the rivers are bad though, like the one that goes out behind Stop and Shop. The manganese levels are high there. Why? Who knows? I think the biggest goal first, before we start worrying about the other ponds, is we are going to look hard at aeration in this pond this winter to try and eliminate the manganese issue. That was the original intent of that system. So our goal is to turn it back on and I'm going to take a week off.
Now, isn't that the area that we should be getting rid of the all the invasives from? So that you're not clean out that area before you put the aeration on, because wasn't that stirring up a lot of the
I
problems?
think the aeration is stirring up, it's not stirring up that, it's stirring up particulate matter off the bottom. It's going to stir, when you turn that on, it's going to be like when we did the raking. It's going to stir up particulate matter in the pond, and that's why we're going to do it in the winter when demand is lower and it's easier for Jonathan to manage that additional organic content. We're also going to this time do it smart and put up a barrier screen in front of the intake structure so that if we do develop an issue in the pond, it gets knocked down in the pond and not getting all the way here first.
Be nice to get those off the bottom.
Mhm.
All right, so we already did Elm Street water main replacement. So we have one abatement, I believe. And I read it, and it's a leaking toilet, which we generally do not give an abatement for. If anyone has any further background on the request, the person lives on Margin Street, said they really need the abatement. I don't know if there's any financial issues there, but I'm happy to hear from everyone else on it.
You know, unfortunately, since it is a leaking toilet, and we're a utility, it would be the same thing, like, well, if she left her refrigerator open when she went away for 2 weeks, who would pay the electric bill? Would she expect the electric company to give her an abatement?
Okay, but there's not, because I know one time in the past, we did allow a leaking toilet where somebody, there were some unique circumstances there. And I just was wondering if those exist here. I didn't see them in the letter other than the potential financial.
Okay, I think
First
that was the one, Brenda, wasn't that Mrs. Brennick, who was like a 98-year-old lady who was living by herself, who's hard of hearing?
Yes, we did give Mrs. Brennick one. They've been very few and far between that we've given them, but yeah, Mrs. Brennick was one.
And then remember on Jerusalem Road, there was that one to Leslie Fallon's mother. She was selling the house and it had the leaking toilet, and we said, gee, I'm sorry, you knew the toilet was leaking, and they never fixed it, so we didn't give them anything.
Yeah, generally we don't. So, okay, I just wanted to open it up for discussion because generally we don't allow these. So. unless
Well,
there's
I
any-
know that the woman doesn't have a lot of money. She was quite upset. Not mean or anything like that. Just it was gonna hit her hard to pay both the water and sewer on that, which she did pay on August 19th. So when I did say to her, normally the board doesn't offer these, but I said, if you really want to try it, just request 50% of the usage.
What's her quarterly bills typical?
Her typical quarterly water bill is, without capital recovery, I'm just talking water charges.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 25 to 61.
Dollars?
Yeah, and her water bill was $891.40.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't understand how her toilet was leaking that much.
She
Wow.
went away. She had it for her first grandbaby. So they flew her out to, I think it was Arizona. So what probably started out with a small, and she's a single woman. It probably slowly got worse and worse. And of course, I didn't catch it until the guys did the reading, and it was one of the first ones that popped out on my high usage report. So I only had her home phone. I didn't have her cell phone. So I called and I had left a message, to let her know, and she didn't retrieve it until she got back, which was, I think, like 3 weeks later. So, but she did have it fixed. Rob Duffy, the plumber, fixed it.
So she's basically 15 times higher than her typical bill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
don't know. I
think?
think we'd open a can of worms here because, we're not looking at an elderly person. And we have a couple other people who we've denied recently.
Um,
And I don't know,
you know her, Lee?
Laura, yeah. Isn't she the
Right.
one who's,
Has
she had the car in the garage that
customer-
caught fire a couple years ago?
I don't know.
Yeah, she was on Fernway, I think, back then.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to her husband.
She's 71.
Hey, Brenda, has the customer been late with their payments in the past
No,
5 years?
no.
Paid on time?
Yep.
And So she's looking, so we're looking at 50%, so 400.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Has she applied for the sewer abatement?
Yes, she has. I forwarded that to Lisa at the sewer department.
So this is just my opinion and, she's been on time. So how long she's been a customer for? I mean, 5
Oh,
years?
God, those condos went in, I think when I first started. So probably 20 years ago.
Okay, so
20 years ago.
20 years, there's no late payments. So no late payments whatsoever.
No,
Typical bill, 40, 60 just on the water.
yeah, I
Looking
mean, I
for
went way
50%.
back, so.
Yeah, just, it's just my opinion, customer, it looks like it has a good history track with the water department. And she did go away. I don't think 50% is really not something I would bark on. She's not looking for 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I do think there's some financial hardship potentially here, at least from the letter and from our discussions with Brenda. So I'm okay with the request.
Chips.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the request for a 50% abatement. Anyone second?
I'll second the motion. You hear me? I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No, I just think we're
Aye.
opening a can of worms.
Okay, so 2, 4, and 1 opposed. And then meeting, so we need to
All right,
sign
now I
that,
just have
right?
another question. Do we ever get that abatement request from Highland Ave?
No. No, the neighbor wrote me a nice letter. I called her today because she actually paid the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And he's working on how to word the abatement to you guys.
That's going to be a huge one.
Yeah,
So Brenda, I'll come in and sign the abatement. Do you need Steve to come in as well?
no, I just need one signature on those.
All
And
right, I'm happy to do it.
okay, yeah, I can work that up tomorrow morning.
Brenda,
Okay.
I'm home too if you want to swing by too. I'm not going anywhere. It's whatever you guys want to do.
Either way, yeah.
All right, I'll send a text out tomorrow and let you know where I stand.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And then Lee, are there any meeting minutes?
I didn't get any, did I, Brenda?
No, because I haven't even looked at them from 2 weeks ago.
Okay, no, we're
Okay.
going to have 2 next time.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Lee. And then commission comments?
Just keep up the good work, Wood and Kern folks.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, the other thing, will we need another meeting coming up soon because of the special town meeting or anything like that?
Not that I can think of.
I don't think so, but if something comes up, we can schedule one.
Okay,
All right, so I think we'll do as we've been doing is, just getting emails out and finding a time that works for everyone for our next meeting. And if anything comes up and we need to meet in the meantime, we can.
One other minor note, we did get additional pricing on the arc flash study. One vendor from Steve did come in at a lesser price, but not significantly less. So we're going to move forward with that as well.
Thank you.
you have the price on that?
Hold on. Carl,
Jason?
Hold on. $6,125 from LIG Consultants. I did send it to Steve to review and he said it looked good.
Thank you. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:24 PM.
I'll
A
second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Good night.
Yeah.
Aye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.